Elsinore.
Or on their Instagram at Ranchito Elsinore.
Now I want me some Elsinore burrito and some of that creamy guac.
Giggity.
I can always give you some of my creamy guac, Jake. Just ask.
El Ranchito Taco Shop, Lake Elsinore.
More than just great Mexican food.
Welcome back to another episode of Customer States, guys. What do 5 random guys in a room and a bell have in common? This podcast. So, as always, guys, I am Jake Rekis. Been in the service industry since I've been, been working on cars since I've been real young. Been a service advisor for about 3. And always still questioning why I continue to do it. To my left, filling in for Kevin because he's a lame, is Mike on the board.
What's everybody? My name is Mike Serra. This is Customer States Podcast, the podcast where we talk about everything in the automotive industry. Hashtag sell the bell. And I am the senior master technician, shop foreman, the wearer of many hats, as you know we've all said before. And to my left are actually 2 of very, very, very special guests this week. We have
3, you asshole.
Well, Eric's extremely special, but he's not a new
they're
guest.
very, very, very special guests. I'm just
gotcha.
a very special.
Gotcha.
And we're spoiling the experience because maybe I had something planned for Eric. So
That's
anyway,
okay.
here is Rudy and Andrew. Give it up to Rudy and Andrew.
Golfers Club?
Rudy, take it away, bud.
Hey, how's it going? I've been in the automotive industry for about 5 years now. Right out of high school and just doing my thing. It's Mike.
Yeah.
Baymate.
Oh, yeah.
Shop
Right,
Papa.
right, right.
One of my baymates, yes.
Shop
That's
Papa.
correct. Andrew, what's going on, bud?
So my name's Andrew. I'm one of Mike's apprentices in transmission. I've been working at the dealership level for probably about 3 years now, hands-on.
Yeah, and
And all of you hate it.
we'll give you guys a little bit more of an introduction as the episode goes on because it was a little lackluster, but we'll get back.
We'll
to
get
it.
there. You relax as it goes on.
And to the left of them, I suppose, is Eric.
I mean, Hallie.
What's up, guys?
That was pretty good.
That was.
We love you, Allie. Hey, y'all. I'm Eric. Been in the automotive, on the professional level. What is it now for? Going on 4 years, something like that. But wrenching my whole life. Yeah, I work in heavy line. I fix heavy stuff.
And to send it off to welcome everybody, we are going to do the salute. We usually do that at the beginning, but I figured the salute would be better towards them.
Yeah, that was one of the latest.
I appreciate
salutes
that.
we've
Yeah,
done.
well, I figured it's like the clap is super lame, so crackables is better. Oh my God! So
Here for the
everybody-
crack.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you.
Yes, of course, and I'll get more into this a little bit later. But as you notice, we're missing a few people. You all know about Kev. I will tell later why we're missing Allie, but she loves all of you. And,
She's here in spirit.
She is, and she's sad, but she'll see you next week. So you're gonna have to start this one off, Mikey boy. There's a lot on the board, but we'll start on the top because you like to keep everything in order.
I thought it was just because he likes to start on top.
Ooh.
Damn it.
Yeah, see, you'll see, guys. Don't worry. Crystal ball powers.
Ooh.
Phrasing?
Ball powers.
That was 3 pages ago.
That's
sorry.
okay. We're there now.
So this story actually happened with Andrew and I, and happened in front of the dealership. We were walking back from my normal sandwich place. I'm a creature of habit. I go to the same exact place and get the exact same thing every single day of the week. And write in, I dare you, and to tell me that that's weird.
Turkey with
Because it is.
provolone.
No, pepper jack.
Oh, pepper jack. Is it really turkey with pepper jack?
Hell yeah.
Oh, I just took a wild guess.
No,
It's a
BLT.
tuna on white, no crust.
No legs of tuna here.
You got the crust?
I got all the feels when you said that.
Oh,
man.
that was just for you.
No, anyway, I'm a creature of habit, so I do the same thing all the time. It makes me feel good and, not kill people. So anyway, so yes, we were walking back from my favorite sandwich establishment, and on the street, because we're walking on a busy main thoroughfare, and on the street, on the right-hand side of the street, opposite that we were walking on, I heard this horrible clanking noise, right? And it was coming from this black Toyota Corolla. And, you know, I'm walking with Andrew, and I look over to him and I say, I bet you that thing's on its last legs. And we take like about 15 steps more, and here's this thing conked out in the middle of the intersection. Trying to, you know, get up into the parking lot wherever it was going to go. And I look over at Andrew and I said, well, I guess we should go help. So I threw my sandwich bag on the grass, ran over with Andrew across the street, across the lanes of traffic to go push this thing out.
Time to nut up or shut up, man.
So the kicker to this story is when we start pushing this guy out of traffic, he says, "Oh, just push me down there a little further." And like sits in the car, like doesn't even like try to help us out or anything like that. He's just like,
Can you push me down to the Toyota dealer, please?
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
He said push down, but it was actually uphill.
it was uphill.
Yeah.
Now, see, with that story, you could have just been heard a horrible noise. It was a Toyota Corolla, and we could have moved on to the next story, and everybody gets it from that point.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to do my good deed, but the guy seemed less than grateful. But I still feel like it did a good thing.
Well, it's funny because you hear stories, you know, people, oh, that car's on its last leg, and all right, cool, but when it actually, you know, got down the street and it died out.
Right in front of you.
Like within a minute or two of me saying that, the thing.
You know that only happened because you said something.
Yeah, of course.
Well,
Probably could have made it home.
You're the man of many hats, dude. Your word rules all. So
I'm also going to win the lottery tomorrow. So
Is that what this whole crystal ball thing was about? You spoke it and it happened?
yeah, I mean, that's
for God's
that
sake,
was the
man,
topic
tell me
idea.
I win the lottery.
No, it's me. I'll share the.
It's me. We'll be able to get a real recording studio.
So you get nothing.
That's unfortunate.
We and if I already touched on this, did I touch on the story with the lady who had the CX-9 towed in?
I don't believe so.
Horrible knocking, had trouble
No.
starting. Didn't touch on this.
No.
Okay, so
From last week?
yeah, from last week. Okay,
No.
so similar story. I had a lady customer. She called in a couple of times, and this was over a course of 2.5, 3 weeks. And she called multiple times. She's like, you know, my car's doing funny things, and it's making funny noises, and a bunch of lights are on, and it's having a hard time starting. And I'm like, well, that could be a lot of things. And she's like, well, my husband thinks it's just the battery. And I'm like, well, me thinks your husband wrong, but anyways.
You guys silly?
Should try taking up stand-up comedy and
Yeah.
just doing funny things, you know?
So, and I tell her, I'm like, she's like, well, what do you think it is? I'm like, I don't diagnose over the phone, but by noise not starting, I'm like, it just doesn't sound good. And I'm like, just have it towed in, and you know, it's all good. And she's like, well, I don't have a whole lot of money. And I'm like, I get it, but if you want this car to last, and it's not already too far gone, bring it in, we'll help you out the best we can.
I need about tree fitting.
About tree fitting. So she's like, okay, I'll get it towed in. Nothing happens. 3 days pass. She calls back. She's like, Jake, it's getting worse. I'm like, yeah, that's usually how that works. So I'm
You
like,
mean it's not getting better? That's weird.
I know, things just don't magically fix themselves. So another 3 or 4 days goes by, still nothing. Calls me again. Jake, the car just will not start now, and it makes a horrible noise. I'm like, when I'm trying to start it, I'm like, okay. So she's like, this time I'm really going to get it towed in. A few hours pass, and here it comes on the hitch, drops it, and I walk out to it. She's not there. Tow truck driver looks at me, and he's like, dude, it's fucked. I'm like, cool. That's kind of what I figured.
Mother of God.
So, so I hop in the car, turn the keys, and I get word. And I'm like, oh,
That's cool.
all right, cool. And speaking of Ford, this is 2010 or 11? 12, 13, so it's Ford Mazda CX-9.
The goal
Right, exactly.
Oh,
So
Ford.
right, so you guys know internal water pump, intermix, super common. So
Turns out water doesn't lubricate really well. That's the strangest thing.
don't do it in the shower, kids. So I have to click it over like 13, 14 times, and it finally goes. I mean, I'm imagining it's just ready to shoot rods right out of it from that point, and I get it back, and I call her. I'm like, so the car is bad. I'm like, really bad off. And she's all like, so it's not the battery? I'm like, no, it's not the battery. And she's like, well, how bad is this? I'm like, do you want my honest opinion? And she's like, yes. And I'm like $14,000 bad. And so she starts crying, and then I feel like the asshole. And then she goes into the whole life story. It's like, well, you know, I'm on assisted, you know, care. I have
The life story,
Yeah,
people.
I have 8 children.
Jesus.
Yeah.
No one told you to do that.
Right. I have 8 children. I don't work. I have government assistance, and my
Plan B is a wonderful thing.
right. And my husband is the only one who works, and this is my only car that I have. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to do you a favor. I will inspect this for you for free, but know that it's not going to be good news. So we inspect it. Of course, it's, I mean, 8,000 codes under the sun. It's got a misfire. It's got a timing issue. It's got the intermix. I mean, it's gone. Just gone. So call her back. Of course, it's like,
Needs an engine.
it needs an engine. It needs a radiator. All types of stuff. And like I said, you're around $18,000. And she, of course, starts crying again. And I'm all like, at this point, you're just going to have to cut your losses, donate the car. You might get a couple $100 off of it, and try and get yourself something else used, whatever the case. And then she goes, well, there's a problem. I'm like, what's the problem? And she goes,
Plot
I
thickens.
still owe $6,400 on this car. She's like, I bought it from, yeah, I'll wait for it. Come on, find it. Wait,
Come on. Nothing is fun here.
that or Womp Womp would have been fine. So
I was just on that one.
So I gasped kind of, like, $6,400 you still owe on this? And she's like, well, I got it from CarMax. I didn't get the extended. I don't have anything to prove it. So, you know, interest rates, blah, blah, blah. She's fucked. And she's like, well, I can't get it towed out of there. I'm like, you're going to have to. And she's like, well, I don't have the money for a tow. I'm like, okay, I'll keep it here for a couple of weeks. But other than that, they're going to repossess this or we're going to tow it off.
You don't charge storage?
No, we don't. For what it happens, it's basically like we will hold it here for a couple of weeks, but no, once it's past that, we're just, oh, wait, what's that? What's that? That's the winds of change. And just like that, the winds of change are gone. Anyways, so continuing with that, and I basically told her, I'm like, look, I understand you made some poor choices, really poor choices. I don't even want to know how everything, yeah. Anyway, with 8 kids.
She doesn't know what a T is?
You are now a storage facility.
And, oh, Jesus. And,
That's what she
you
said.
know, and you know, my brain, and to all the female listeners out there, it's like, if with the, no, this is being nice, this isn't being cruel. I'm saying there's nothing wrong with having that many kids if you plan for it, you want to have a big family, I get that.
Of course.
But in that situation, my brain goes, I want to tell her so bad, well, isn't the government giving you like $1,500 per kid? That's fucking a lot of money. It's like, you gotta have the money to pull this out of at least my driveway for the $60 tow.
Yeah.
But, so I told her, I'm like, look, I can hold this for a couple of weeks, and that's just out of the kindness of our heart. Usually it's like, you've got a couple of days or it's gone. And my used car manager calls his buddy with the flatbed, and wherever it ends up is your fucking problem.
Yeah.
So, and
Tow yard on the outskirts of town.
and of course, you know, when you're in this industry and you get the criers and the life stories and they, you know, expect you to feel bad, and you do, and it's like, I did feel bad for her, but it's like, we can't bend over backwards for these people and be like, I already gave you the inspection for free just because I'm a nice guy, and my tech's already like, I know what's wrong with it, but if you want exacts, I have no problem spending 20 minutes on it and plugging it in. But at the same time, I can't then tow it and then, you know, get you a ride over here or whatever the case, or end up, you know, Ubering your 19 children to daycare.
Yeah.
So it's a slippery slope. So, but that, like, the same thing. It's like, you know, when we first turned that, I'm like, ooh, this is fun. This is so yeah, that was my real big, like, in a long time, like, a really fucked car was that.
That whole situation is just bad, owing that kind of money on that car.
$6,400,
That is such
man.
okay, ladies and gentlemen, always buy the extended warranty.
Yep.
Always.
Even if you don't think you're going to need it, you're going to pray to God that you have one too.
What's an extended warranty coverage? $5,000 for the top of the line one?
Well, and that's like, you're talking like BMW, Mercedes.
Right.
You know,
How much is an engine replacement?
right.
How much is a transmission replacement?
No, you're absolutely right.
Right.
You know, I took my
one major
mom.
repair. That's it.
I took my mom car shopping a couple months ago, and she ended up deciding on a Lexus. And
Fancy Toyota.
He hates that.
Oh, sorry, dude.
I own a Lexus.
Oh, right, you do. Sorry, I redact all of that.
That's okay. I've been
Not
hearing
his
it
first
for the
Lexus.
longest time.
Not his first Lexus either.
No,
Hey,
second Lexus.
don't get me wrong. Lexus is nice. My
Lexus
dad uses
life.
it.
No, you're right. It is a fancy Toyota.
Lexus Life.
I was about to say that.
I have personalized license plates.
My dad had a GS430 like right when they came out.
Oh my
back in the
god!
day.
Yeah, that's first gen right there.
Yeah, he loved it, dude. He ripped the shit out of that.
I've had two GSs.
Yeah.
My second GS right now.
Lexus is an old person's vehicle. Who gives a shit? Let's move on.
It's a sports sedan, FYI.
Bitch.
Insert air quotes here. But
Was that expensive piece?
Or
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
I haven't experienced a letter of that yet. I'm very fortunate. But anyway, she decided on a small Lexus SUV, and we're in the finance office. We're doing paperwork. She's deciding what she's going to put down, and then there's the question about the warranty. Of course, you know, that's their job, is to sell you warranty and Scotch Guard and this and that and everything else under the sun. And I tried to explain to my mother, like, hey, this is a good idea, you know. Yes, these cars are reliable, but everything is controlled by computers now, you
Yep.
know. For a computer for your radio, you have one for the windows, you have one for the seats, you have one for the headlights, the taillights. Every single thing is controlled in that car by a computer, and that's very expensive.
Yep.
You wouldn't drive around without car insurance, so it's the same thing. It's insurance for when and if something happens. You know, you want to have that there.
It's not all gimmick.
No,
Some
it's
of
not.
it is worth it.
Oh, absolutely. And I tried to explain this to her, and she's like, well, that just means that they don't stand behind their product. I'm like, no. That's not what that means at all.
the fact that we all laughed at that
Yes.
tells you enough to know that shit happens.
Yes,
exactly.
You know, the light bulb in your refrigerator burns out, or the belt on your dryer, you know, busts, or what. I mean, everything constantly needs maintenance. Your vehicle is nothing different than the normal appliances in your house.
Gonna need about tree fitting.
Yeah.
Isaac Hayes is coming after you, dude. That's too close. That's too close. It's too close.
Well done.
It's just an unfortunate product of mass manufacturing too. I mean, you're gonna have small glitches. They should be sitting there.
Always. I mean, there's always going to be something that's going to fail, or a breaking point, or a weak point. I mean, that's why there's an entire service industry.
Right. And it's amazing. Even somebody who comes and knows nothing.
Do not go.
Do not. Here, I'll rephrase that. Even with somebody who comes to buy a car and knows nothing about whatever vehicle they buy, the minute you sit into that car and you own it for a couple of months, you will notice every small problem.
Every little defect.
Every
little
single
minor flaw,
one.
which-
The little creak behind Kevin's headrest. Was
Yes.
Don't.
Kevin is screaming right now somewhere.
He's not here yet, so we can talk. But yeah, he is extremely anal with all the squeaks and noises.
I can relate to that.
Okay,
Oh, dude.
Especially first generation, right? Especially if a new vehicle.
Oh, you never want to buy the first generation.
don't ever buy the first one.
Yeah.
First year.
Yeah.
I have a few friends that made that mistake.
Yeah.
They regretted it.
First year of
Welcome to
any
the-
revised model.
Welcome to the Mazda 3. Jesus. And before, so you can riff off a little bit with women in bad luck, you gave me a little rundown of Poor Miss SUV.
Yeah, so last week we had talked about the really nice lady in the brand new-ish Ford SUV. She's homeless. She's come upon hard times. Her and her daughter live out of this car. So to give you a little bit of an update on that, after we finally got her in a vehicle free of charge,
Wow.
other than the fact that she has to pay the tax on something and gas, obviously.
Yep.
Right? So virtually free of charge. So it turns out that the parts that she needs to repair her transmission.
Wait, let me guess. Back ordered.
How do you know?
Southern
As we
Bell.
say, galactic.
One more time. Yeah.
Mother of God.
Yes, all of these sound bites apply to this. Yes, the parts are on back order. So, immediately I knew this was going to be a problem. So I go to the parts department and I tell them, listen, here's the whole story. Oh, we know the story. The service advisor's already told us. we're working on it. We're doing the next level thing. So we have this issue, or we have this process that's called like COPIS. And if a part is on back order, then we submit a case to COPIS and give them all the information. And now they've changed it. It was 10 days before, but within 11 days, if they can't get us the part that we need to
Move
repair
forward.
the unit,
Next
we
level repair, right?
can move to yes, absolutely correct, Rudy.
You're learning something though.
See, he does listen.
He's
to
growing
you.
up. It brings a tear to my eye. He's learning.
You always thought it just went in one ear and out the other.
Not everything, but most of it.
So Rudy's absolutely correct. Yes, we can move to the next higher level assembly, which in this case would be a transmission. And I will tell you firsthand, I would have loved to diagnose this thing on the service drive and said it needs a transmission.
And get a trans.
Put a transmission in the vehicle. However, my hands are tied by Ford Motor Company. And
Kinky.
Yeah,
You
it
like-
is.
Well,
Tell me more about that, Mike.
It's a good thing you're sitting next to Eric. Anyway, yeah, so, I mean, the parts are on back order, and there's nothing I can do. I've done everything that I can as a technician, as the shop foreman, the parts department has done everything that they can, the service advisor has done everything that they can, and the customers even called the 1-800 number and gotten through to people on there, and they said, well, I don't know why they're waiting so long, for to get you authorized. No, Ford knows the policies. I have to wait 11 days from the time that the part is ordered to prove that it's not readily available to move to the next higher level assembly. We have documentation for all of that.
So did she stop calling you?
No, see,
She's
called
still
yesterday,
calling
right?
you?
She called yesterday. Yeah.
no,
Wait,
see,
on
this
your
is
personal? Yes.
No, she called my direct line at the dealership.
okay.
Makes sense.
This is where you are lucky compared to Mazda. So we don't have like an escalate where it comes to that. If a part isn't available, you can then move to the next. Mazda's real bad at that. They will basically say, well, your customer can wait. We'd rather pay for either a rental or we will pay you for, lending a loaner. And instead, like, we had a huge back order for heads for a couple of different cars. We had a customer that was in that, instead of giving us an engine, it was 3.5 months. So the only,
Oh my God.
so the only extra,
I damn near fell out of my chair.
So the only extra
3.5 months.
Yes, the only extra help that we get is we go through DAG, which is just Dealer Assistant Group, where if a dealership, everybody is in a list and a line. If a dealership gets it ahead of time from us, if they decide to steal it from them and give it to us because we've waited longer, they will, which then in turn just screws that dealership over. But no, we asked multiple times, customer called multiple times, I hate Mazda, this sucks, everything along those lines. And they're like, nope, sorry, you're gonna wait until the part becomes available. There is no going up.
Wow.
That's my biggest thing because I have to talk with customers sometimes in the service drive. We've talked about this before. You go up there and you go road test with a customer, and yes, I'd love to bring your car in here and it has this problem. However, I know this part is on back order for a couple months, and yes, I'm looking at your car right now, and I could have the transmission out today, and I could replace the part right now if we had the part. But there's just no way that it's going to happen.
Can't you just pull it off of one of the new cars at the front of the lot?
We tried.
Wait,
Doesn't
we
work
just
out.
did that recently over at Drivability. We had to.
We've done that too.
Yeah,
where it's
for a
like,
brand new vehicle.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
well, we've done it. Brand new vehicle. It's like, sorry, hide it in the back. Nobody gets it. We need the parts.
Yep.
So prioritization about that.
Oh, okay. Yes. Eric, would you like to lead this one off, please?
Oh, yes.
You're starting this.
Priorities. Have your priorities straight, people. Or kind of wavy, like how I have mine. Well, see, at our dealer, you would think that, the customer comes first before anything else. Right?
Rome.
Extremely wrong. Extremely. But no, who actually spends more money with us is the used car department.
Yep.
So, used cars take priority over
Everything.
CP, tickets, warranty tickets. Doesn't matter if you get something
Which
that
is
comes
wrong.
In, yeah,
Which is wrong.
I agree 100%.
In all terms and circumstances.
Yes, no,
It's
absolutely
wrong.
Imagine trying to explain that to the customer that's waiting 3 weeks for part drive. It arrives, and then they're like, "Hey, I need this done now for this used car. We got to get it on the front line." This person's been waiting long.
Aren't we a Ford
Fjord.
dealership?
Fjord.
Right? No, I need you to get this Corolla up and running.
No.
It's sitting in the parking lot across the street that Mike and Andrew helped push over.
We just got a Toyota Tundra and need it on the line.
Yeah, seriously. And for those of the techs that will work on other manufacturers outside of the dealer, I'm unfortunately, I haven't figured it out yet. I am one of those techs. I have no problem working on other men.
Shout out to Bobby.
Roles,
Eric swings both ways.
He definitely does not.
Oh.
My door only swings one direction. Sorry.
You'll bat for other teams though.
That's it.
Pretty sure that's outward.
It's been out for a long time.
That way the door swinging.
That went from walk-in closet to room closet.
I have arrived. But yeah, it's silly in my opinion. I really feel that the customer's vehicle should always be first, and I try to work my way around that. If it's a quick thing, of course I'll knock it out.
Right.
But when they're telling me I need to reseal this engine, because they sell vehicles before they're even on the front line, before they've been safety inspected.
Hey, can you guys look at this vehicle because I have somebody coming down to come buy it?
I just sold it.
What?
It just came.
Yeah.
What do you mean you just sold it? It just rolled off the truck.
I was
an
going to
hour
say,
ago.
the air brakes just set on the transfer truck.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, how it works is they buy these vehicles from auction,
Yep.
and the minute they purchase them at auction, they go directly on the
Goes
website.
on the website.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right away. They don't waste any time. So it's unfortunate.
I mean, the vehicle
whatever.
could not run for all they know, and they
Right.
bought it on auction and put it on the website, and now it needs an engine, but the guy's down here to come pick it up right now.
Yeah, no, he loves
So
it.
what do you
Sight
mean?
unseen.
Mike, shut the hell up. He's here to pay cash.
Well, cash only goes so far.
Yeah, it really does.
Like that stupid G35 I had before he came back in.
Oh
the
my
steering gear and
God.
whatever else I needed, didn't pass mod or whatever.
I need about G30.
Wait, so explain this.
Okay, so I inspected a Infiniti G35 a couple of weeks ago, and next thing you know, our used car advisor comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, the car's back." I'm like, "Okay, what's wrong with it?" "Oh, all the stuff you told me." "Okay, what do you want me to do with it?"
You decided
So
to
he's
sell it
fixated
that
it.
way.
Not to stop you. What the hell is a used car advisor? You guys have independent for that?
Yeah.
Like different writer? Wow.
No,
Web
so,
writer.
so we have an internal service writer that
For
deals with
used.
used cars.
Holy shit. Okay.
It
Continue.
was the service manager before.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, continue.
So after that, she's like, "Oh, can you give me prices and all this stuff to, fix it?" And I go to Mike, because pretty much like the shop foreman. And what should I do with it?
Don't you dare ring the bell for yourself,
Don't need to
goddammit.
ring your own bell there.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, so after talking to Mike, he's like, "Well, send it to Nissan, have them fix it." And I let her know, and she's like, "Oh, okay. Well, next, they do that, and then give it to another tech, and he fixes it." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine with me." I did my part. I covered my ass.
Is that the one with the rack and pinion and the shocks?
Exactly.
Oh my god!
I don't even know
You
what
don't know
happened
the
to that.
story on that car?
No.
What else happened to it?
Oh, okay. So this is a
Feel
good
it.
one. So so first of all, that came to me first. One of
I
the
have no idea what's happening.
So it's when this thing came in, you could tell it had just been abused. It had stupid oversized wheels on
Welcome
it.
to
It
Infiniti
was
owners.
dropped. The front bumper was cracked and anyways, it was
that's the silver one.
Yes,
with
the silver
white,
one.
It was
white,
white
lettering on the wheels?
writing on the
Exactly.
side walls. Okay,
We all
so,
know the car.
Oh my god! So it came to me first because one of the managers was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to sell this work, and nobody wants to do the work because there's money in the door, whatever." Anyways, I'm like, "Okay, well, I have no problem working on the car, but it's going to sit here for a month and a half because I'm backed up." He's like, oh, the customer doesn't care. It can sit. I'm like, okay, fine. Then yes, get it written up. So anyways, long story short, it gets written up. It gets brought in, and they end up having the brakes and front end department putting, I think they just did a rack and pinion in it. And this was all going to be customer pay, mind you. The dealer was not paying for this. The dealer was not paying for these repairs.
Sold as is.
The customer.
Thank you, Andrew.
The customer was willing to pay for all this. He authorized the repairs.
Sure.
So fine, they throw the rack and pinion in it because it was leaking, and it sits in the lot for a couple days, and then the customer shows up. Okay, and he goes to the advisor that had helped him, and said that he had wanted to go sit in the car and listen to the radio to see if they had fixed the radio concern he had. And mind you, there was never a radio concern that came up. Okay, and even the writer's like, yeah, well, and even the writer's like, okay, like this was never a thing. Sure, why not? So they go out to the parking spot. Mind you, it's 3 spots in from the service drive, the main service drive. Our service drive is usually stacked. We're usually like 8-10 cars deep all the way to the street, okay? And in this one particular instance, there were 0 cars on the service drive. None. So the customer goes and sits in the car, and the rider's standing kind of off of the corner of the vehicle while the customer sits in it. He rolls down the window, he starts the car, he's listening to the radio, he's dinking with his phone or whatever, and the rider's, just standing there, and I was across the